Well, it's we're back for Trauma Isn't Funny, and we're actually allowed to do it on video now.
You can do it on video.
You're allowing it, aren't
yes,
you?
I'm allowing it.
Brilliant. Wow.
And we're glad to be back. Sorry, we've been away for a long time. Been
back
working
by
really,
popular demand.
Yeah, and I've been working really hard.
Well, people have asked me to come back, but they did ask if I could do it on my own. But no.
She'd be lost without me.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
what are we talking about?
So today we thought we'd talk about the relationship between blame and fear, because there's a lot of blame in trauma. There's a lot of, if you're fostering, adopting, kinship care, we know, don't we, there's loads and loads of blame and loads and loads of fear. So let's start with the child. So I bet you were quite a blamey child, weren't you?
Well, yeah, very, very blamey, I'm afraid. It was everybody else's fault, everything.
Yeah.
But I have to say that my blame was the shield to my fear, because I was too scared to let people get close to me, so it was easier to make everything everyone else's
It
fault.
misdirects everything, doesn't it?
Yes.
So if you're frightened of something, like, life, and you don't want people discovering that because then you're vulnerable, it's much easier to go, well, look over there, that idiot, they did, you breathed on me.
Yeah.
We have that a lot. A lot of people say to me that children say, he breathed on me.
Breathed on me. Imagine breathing on someone.
Breathing on someone.
That's the worst thing you could ever do. Isn't it? But I was very, very, it was always someone else's fault. Do you know I still do that, Irv?
I know you do. I didn't like to say, but I had noticed once or twice.
It's not my fault.
I can't believe what so-and-so's done. Well, no, she didn't do that, actually. But it comes from a place of fear.
Yes.
Because the first thing you get is discomfort. The first thing you get is like, oh, no, this has happened. Oh, no. So you've got that fear, and you immediately start looking at who to blame. And, I see it with children. I see it with the people looking after the children, because, unfortunately, we are working in this risk-averse, blame-filled culture, aren't we?
I'm sick of it. And as soon as we seem to get on top of it a bit, they churn out more social workers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by churning them out?
Yeah.
Here's another
They don't
load.
have to. I am a former social worker, as you know,
Yes.
and I know that from the universities I go and speak in, that they're not really, a lot of them aren't covering the stuff that social workers really need.
No.
In order to
That
work
would
with
help them to do their
help
job
them.
really well.
So some of them are great anyway, because they've done extra training, or they've fostered themselves, or they've got that trauma-informed approach. But when they haven't, this is what happens. A few years ago, I'd been brought into a fostering agency to sort them out, because it's a bit of a mess. And one of the foster parents had something had gone wrong, and she wasn't coping. She was a brilliant foster parent, really great. And what I noticed was, as soon as she said, I'm really struggling, this is really difficult, some of the staff, the social workers, managers, started going, oh, well, we've always thought she was a bit... and I literally watched this happen in front of me, and I was like, this is what happens. You've got the staff being scared that someone's going to get the blame, and it's not going to be them.
Can't be them.
And then they're like, have we done all the forms right? Because if we haven't done the forms right. But what they're not thinking about here at all is what's happened.
That's the important bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's happened. And also what's happened from the perspective of the child. What's really going on.
Yeah.
They're not considering...
That
gets lost in all of it, because it all becomes risk-averse, box-ticking practice.
Yeah.
Where they're not considering, well, why has this child perhaps made an allegation, as an example?
Yeah.
Why is this child behaving in this way?
Yeah.
Where's that coming from?
Yeah.
So instead of being curious, they become blamey.
And then you've got something else I was talking about earlier, where, the excitement, the diversion of the thing happening. So I know when I was working in child protection, if something came in that needed, a safeguarding meeting or looking into whatever, some social workers would be a little bit like, this is, because it takes a lot of effort and energy and the rest of it. And that's not
Helps
just
with boredom.
It does. And but sometimes of course we're dealing with really important stuff, and of course we're both of us very, very committed to safeguarding. But I can see sometimes that it's a distraction, and sometimes things would come in that you sort of knew wasn't a thing. But what happened was people immediately went into blaming the foster parent, blaming, they would even say things like, well, I've always thought they were
dodgy.
But they've been brilliant for 10 years, no problems whatsoever.
I always thought he was a bit weird.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah.
Right, well, why have you never mentioned it before?
Yeah, not till now.
Not till now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's really sad because when foster parents tell me they feel like they've been blamed and that everything's their fault and they're under a microscope, it makes me feel really sad, actually.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, from the perspective of when I was the therapeutic parent, the amount of, I mean, I can laugh about it now, the amount of blame that used to be heaped on me for things that were absolutely beyond my control. You know, the famous one that I've written about in But He Looks So Normal, where, you know, I'm at a multi-agency meeting and the person says, well, the only reason that your son stole was because he hasn't got any electricity in his room and he stole batteries for his torch. And I was literally sitting there thinking, I've entered a parallel universe. Like, how do you even do that? How do you not have electricity in one room? I don't know.
Take the bulb out, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but he had spotlights. I wouldn't
take all the bulbs out, all the spotlights.
And I just thought, and I did sort of later on think, oh, I see what's happened here. You know, my son had gone, well, you know, he'd been caught stealing, so he's fearful. So what he does, because he's fearful, is he does a bit of blame. So it's like, he didn't mean to blame me. He was just like, well, what it was, I've got no electricity in my room and it's really dark, so I needed to steal batteries for my torch.
And that was his story.
That was his story. Yeah, that was his story.
Yes, and we know that children struggle to differentiate between past and present, between what's happening.
Because it all gets mixed up. A lot of people, the amount of people though, who deal with allegations who don't know this.
Oh, I can't believe it.
It's shocking.
It's
absolutely shocking.
The child said it, therefore it happened.
That's right. I had somebody say that to me recently who absolutely should know better. And they said, you know, if the child says it's true. And I'm like, what? So if the child said to you, there's a pink elephant sitting in the corner and it trampled me, are you saying we should start from a position of it's true? It might be true to the child. It doesn't. You say, don't you? There's their truth. What is it you say? There's their story, your story, and the actual story.
And the actual story.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're not lying, but they're not telling the truth because it's probably happened, but it's not happened where they are now.
Yeah.
And people don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear that because then it takes away it being a safeguarding.
Yeah.
Or it takes it away from being an allegation. It becomes a disclosure.
Yeah.
And then it takes the wind out of their sails. Look, I want to be clear here. I'm not saying that most people don't want to get this right because I think they do.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
Of course they do. However, they've got to be open to up-to-date research and knowledge and understanding of trauma. And that's the biggest problem with fear is false evidence appearing real. And ego, because it can't be anything but this, because if it's anything else then that's going to be more work.
Oh, and it takes them outside of their knowledge zone.
And their knowledge
zone.
That's
thing. I know safeguarding procedures, I know what we do about this, but when you start talking about, well, actually, this is about the child's reality and about trauma and the impact it is, that takes me outside of my knowledge base, therefore I'm going to deny it.
Yes.
And you see, so there's a fear and blame culture there as well. So I've had a situation, well, this has happened more than once actually, I know it's happened to you too, where a child, in fact I wrote Sophie Spike Has a Very Big Problem years ago, and that's about the child who feels uncomfortable with new clothes and new shoes and all of that, and they go back and they seek out the old stuff and put it on. And that's because of that fitting their internal working model better. So those of us in trauma, we get that. But the child gets to school in the holy jumper that got out the bin, and instead of the person thinking, oh, I wonder what's happening there, they go, oh, this child's being neglected. And before you can even breathe, they've contacted safeguarding.
And they're all over you.
And even though you and I are saying, no, what's happening here is this child's got a perfectly nice jumper, they've got this out of the bin, they've chosen to do it.
And even if they haven't, they don't know how to ask for help.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because that's challenged that social workers or inspectors or therapists or teachers' view of what they know, their very limited view of the world. What they do is they go into blame. Oh, I think they're being neglected. I think there's a safeguarding because that keeps me in my lane. I understand what's going on here.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's how we've ended up here.
I agree completely. And it's almost like going around with the safeguarding microscope, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everywhere, having a look for a little bit of safeguarding over there, a bit over here, a bit. And I really want to be clear, as you said, we prioritise safeguarding at all costs.
But you've got to look beyond the behaviour.
You've got to look behind the behaviour to what's actually really happening.
Yeah.
And we were recently inspected, weren't we, by our fostering agency
in Wales.
In Wales.
Yeah.
And it was a fantastic inspection, wasn't it?
Trauma-informed inspectors. And that makes all the difference in the
Yeah,
world, because
yeah.
they're looking at things like this we're talking about, and they go, oh yeah, that's happening. And I thought, wow, this is a breath of fresh air.
Yes.
You know, but it did make us think, well, you know, that needs to be everywhere, doesn't it? It does need to be everywhere, because, I mean, you know, don't get me wrong, we all like to indulge in a bit of blame, don't we? I mean,
It's fun sometimes.
You love it, don't you?
I love it.
You love doing a bit
I
of
like
blame.
blaming
What do you do
people.
when you blame someone? Right, you do a lot of blame, and
Well, I
then you
feel
find out you're
excited.
wrong. What about when you find out actually there's nothing to see here and you shouldn't have done it?
I just change the subject. Change subject quick. Well, I said, well, it was almost their fault. So.
Yeah. Well, it could have happened.
It could have been.
It could have been like that.
Could have been. Could have
Idiot.
been.
Idiot. Yeah.
No.
So yeah, I think that is the problem that we have here, is that I think we got to take away the blame and instead be the curious and go,
And have accountability.
yeah, I wonder why that would happen.
Yes.
That's a much more useful thing
What
to
else
say.
might be happening here?
What could be happening? Why did that happen? What do we think's going on here for the child,
Yes.
for the person looking after the child,
Yeah.
and for the social worker? Because if you've got a social worker coming in going, blame, 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 my instinctive thing, although it's annoying, is I wonder what's going on there. I wonder why
Yes.
they're doing that. And quite often,
What
if
are their
I-
own personal triggers?
Exactly. If we can, and you've done some great work with social workers where you've explained, actually, this is what's going on, this is what, and they're able to shift and go, oh, right,
And that's
the lights
fine.
come on.
Well, I have all the patience in the world for people who don't understand.
Yeah.
But my patience goes, and then I start blaming them when they do know this stuff and they still choose to not listen to it.
Yeah,
That's the bit that really gets me quite angry at
yeah,
times.
yeah. So, I think that, I mean, one of my children was very blamey. She used to walk in the room and do blaming.
Do you remember when that child of yours, just one of them, blamed her sister? The sister had had an abscess in her...
And then she got an abscess, and she said she'd caught it.
She caught the
off her
abscess off her sister. It was
Yeah.
sister's fault. She caught
Yeah.
the abscess off her.
And the other thing she did, which is kind of discreet blame, is that...
I like that.
Yeah, discreet blame, is that she was sitting next to you, because she's, you know, over 18, and she had a hole in her leggings. And so she sat next to you, more or less like poking the hole and going, almost, look at me, I've got
Yes.
I've got holes in my
Yes.
clothes. And you said...
I called her out straight away. Stop trying to pretend you've got holes in your clothes and your mother doesn't buy you new clothes because you know she does. So I just held up the mirror in a... I wasn't very
Which isn't very therapeutic, really.
Very
No, that's not the way to do it.
No,
Therapeutic
I know how to
parenting.
teach it.
Yeah, yeah. But she was over 18, she wasn't that. And that was a stop it now moment.
It was a stop it now and pack it in.
Yeah, it was, because you saw what was going on.
Definitely.
But, you know, her default setting was blame. And that comes from a place of fear, and a fear of being discovered. And I feel like, do you know what would solve all this? What I find so upsetting is we know the answer. We do it in our fostering agencies. We practice trauma-informed social work, parenting, everywhere, and that solves it. And we do free training for local authorities, free training charities, we offer consultancy, because actually it's a simple shift. It's about saying, I wonder why the child would look like that. I wonder what's happened, and then doing that work. It's not about not holding therapeutic parents accountable.
No.
If there's abuse,
course.
we're going to hold them accountable. We're going to know, because we've got eyes and ears everywhere. And we're
Have
going
you?
Yeah.
I haven't
that's
seen any
how
on your back.
That's how I know.
But you told me you've got eyes on
I
the back of
know.
your head.
I have. My children used to think that. I swear that they used to think I had eyes on the back of my head. But if we do that and we are holding people accountable where they should be, usually though there's a learning curve, isn't
Well, yeah,
there?
because say for example, and it doesn't happen very often unless a silly decision has been made by someone external, that a child in one of our agencies moves.
Yeah,
What we do is we have a meeting where we think about what happened,
yeah,
what else was happening,
yeah,
could we have done anything differently, and what's the learning in this.
yeah,
So it's not about blame. Blame has an inverse relationship to accountability. It's
Yeah.
about sitting down and saying, what
What
could we have done
happened?
differently?
yeah.
What happened?
And that's how we
what's the
avoid it
learning?
happening in the future.
Of course.
Otherwise, you're just going round and round. You think they have disruption meetings at local authorities, don't they?
Yeah.
I would lay money that if you went to look at a disruption meeting, the minutes, you'd read the same thing over and over
Yes.
and over
Yes.
again,
Yeah.
where the same thing keeps
Yeah.
happening. If you look after your foster parents, your doctors, your kinship carers properly and give them proper support, without fear, because you know what you're talking about, they will look after the children.
100%.
It's a simple shift. It's a free shift.
Yes.
And you know, when we're king, that's what we'll do, isn't it?
Well, you
We'll
might
make
be
that the
king.
law.
I'm not a man, so I'd be the queen.
No, yeah, but that's discriminatory. Why can't I be a king?
Oh, for crying
See, that's
out
sexual
loud.
discrimination now. You just like, I'm not going to be king and queen with you. That's not happening.
You could
'cause
be
you're-
both.
No, I'll be king and you can be page.
Paige! I'll be the joker.
Yeah, you be the joker.
I'll be the
Yeah.
joker.
Well, it's been very nice doing a Trauma Isn't Funny
it?
with you. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll do another one. Let us know what you would like us to talk about. Let us know if you'd like me to do it on mine without Sarah Dillon.
No, you won't. And let me know if you want to talk about something sensible and interesting. Then just
But we still muck about.
always.
Yeah.
We have to.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
Bye.